hopefully that helps you. We appreciate your call today. Let's head to Laney in Chicago. Go right ahead.
Yes, I have a question. I live on the north side. I'm 65. And I paid into an life insurance, first with term and then went to whole. And that insurance company went out of business without letting me know. I never got any policy or my book back or payment. I was just switched back and forth. And I had that ever since I was 14. I was 65, but nowhere to be buried.
Yeah, and so you're wondering what to do about the policy, is that right?
I don't have any. The person took everything, the policy, the books, and they just went out of business. I contacted the Attorney General's office. They said that they don't deal with individual cases. It's normally businesses. They recommend that I get a private attorney, which I'm on a fixed income and I have no other income.
Okay. So, again, I'm a little confused as to what's happened here. So, was this a whole life policy that had some cash value that built up in it?
It was a term life when I was 14. I paid up till I was 26, and then it went whole life. And now I'm 65. They took my money all the way up to, I would say, now. And now they went out of business. And I was told they went out in 2016 just finding this out. And I have no way of contacting anyone.
Yeah.
They went into under another name. The agent told me that there was nothing I could do. It was like bragging.
Okay. Did you talk, so policies are insured by the state Guarantee Association Fund. In the state of Illinois, that's going to be the IHIGA. It's the Illinois Life and Health Insurance Guarantee Association. Is that who you contacted?
I didn't get the other part.
Okay.
Life Guarantee.
Yeah, so visit this website to learn more. Perhaps this could give you some next steps. It's IHIGA.org. That's IHIGA.org. That's the Guarantee Association there in the state of Illinois that guarantees these policies, and it should be insured up to $300,000 in death benefits, although that's not an issue here, but also up to $100,000 in cash surrender or withdrawal values. So again, that's IHIGA.org. Lady, I know this is frustrating. I hope that can help you get some answers. We appreciate your call today. Let's see, to Jupiter, Florida. Hi, Diane. Go ahead.
Hi. I'm just researching possible life insurance policies to pay off my mortgage for my children at the time of my death. I refinanced it a couple of years ago. I have $153,000 on it, but I just turned 74 a couple of weeks ago. So everyone that's been quoting me prices for 10 years, of course, it's going to be pricey because I'm older. It's so $240 to $300 a month. Would it be wiser for me to take that money? Because in a couple of months, I'm getting a small inheritance, which I'm going to wipe out all my credit cards. Would it be better to use that money instead of using for insurance company? Is it put it down on the principal on the house?
Absolutely, yes. There's not a reason for insurance here. The reason we have life insurance is to offset a risk, a loss of income, or a hardship that would be placed on our loved ones at our death. That's not going to be the case here. If your kids inherit the house and there's still a mortgage on it, they'll sell the house and use the proceeds to pay off the mortgage, and then they can split the rest. So you paying an exorbitant amount for life insurance at your age for a death benefit to cover a mortgage that already has some equity in it, there's really not a benefit to do that. I think you take this money and put it towards shoring up your own financial foundation. I completely agree, Diane. Thanks for your call today. God bless you. That's going to do it for us today, folks. Thanks to my team, Devin Patrick, Pat Montague, and Jim Henry. Couldn't do it without him. Thank you for being here as well. Hope you have a great rest of your day. And come back and join us tomorrow. I'll be here. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.
The views and opinions expressed in this broadcast may not necessarily reflect those of the American Family Association or American Family Radio.
90.5 KTXG Green subscribe, we'll notify you once or twice a week about a critical issue facing our country. AFA Action Alerts have been very successful in influencing legislation, as well as getting positive results from America's Fortune 500 companies. Subscribe to your AFA Action Alerts today. Go to afa.net and click on the Resources tab.
This is American Family Radio, a listener-supported ministry of the American Family Association.
American Family News, I'm Steve. Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson of the Senate Homeland Security Committee says he and Senator Chuck Grassley are looking into alleged IRS retaliation against whistleblowers.
The American people deserve the truth, and unfortunately, Congress's oversight abilities and capabilities have been really neutered over the last few decades because administrations realize we have very few enforcement mechanisms.
The field of GOP presidential candidates continues to grow, with former Vice President Mike Pence's announcement today. A lot of people are asking why so many are running. Former Michigan gubernatorial candidate Tudor Dixon thinks she knows why.
I think in some cases it is an audition. I think in some cases it's big egos. I think there are a lot of people that go, oh, well, there's an opportunity here because not that many people are going to come out for Trump. I think they underestimate that Trump base. People come out for Trump that come out for no one else.
Florida officials confirmed on Tuesday that the state is behind multiple migrant flights to California in recent days, saying that the migrants on board gave their consent. The flights have sparked a furious response and accusations of kidnapping from California's governor and attorney general. Florida Congressman Byron Donalds says Democrats are complaining about the problem they created that is being dumped on their doorstep.
Listen, California has always been advertising, like my colleagues say, they've always been advertising that they're a sanctuary state, but now they got problems. Now New York City's got problems. They're complaining now that they have to deal with the issues created by their crazy policy. But I don't hear Gavin Newsom or this sheriff in Texas talking about the fact that Joe Biden allows young girls to be raped in the journey to our southern border because of his reckless policy. I don't see them talking about the truckloads of people who have died from heat exhaustion, etc., when they're being trafficked in the United States, mind you. They don't complain about that, but they complain about how the problem they created has been dumped on their doorstep. My advice to Gavin Newsom, go kick rocks and change your policy. Don't be mad that you got to deal with it now.
A lot has been said recently about President Joe Biden's age, with the New York Times even publishing a glowing article about his stamina. But Fox News contributor Joe Concha says, take a look at Biden's schedule for today.
At 10 a.m., he receives the daily briefing. That's basically your national security report. At 10 a.m., why you're not giving the President of the United States the national security briefing, now while we're working, I'm not quite sure. But then you look at after that, 12:15 p.m., Carly Todd, the president and the vice president have lunch. And then at 1 o'clock, there's a press briefing by Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre. That's it. That's all that's on his public schedule.
A law firm has a request for the University of Pittsburgh. Chris Woodward has more.
Alliance Defending Freedom sent a letter Tuesday to the University of Pittsburgh informing it that the near $19,000 security fee the university charged the Intercollegiate Studies Institute and the university's College Republicans chapter violated the student group's First Amendment rights. The fee was imposed after ADF says Pitt officials incited hundreds of protesters to disrupt an event that the conservative student group sponsored. ADF attorney Phil Seckler.
Speech should be free, and it should especially be free on college campuses. And schools shouldn't cancel speeches and events because they don't like the viewpoint, and they shouldn't burden events and speeches because they don't like the viewpoint. And that's essentially what University of Pittsburgh has done here, and we see that all across the country.
ADF wants the university to respond to its letter by June 12th. If not, Seckler says ADF will have to consider other remedies.
It's time really for universities to protect free speech and to allow students to talk about issues big and small on campus.
AFN is seeking comment from University of Pittsburgh. I'm Chris Woodward.
U.S. stocks are drifting higher and hovering near the edge of a new bull market for Wall Street. The S&P 500 was 0.3% higher today. If it finishes the day there, the U.S. stock market's main measure of health could be 20% above where it was in mid-October. That in turn would be the end of its painful bear market, which began early last year.
More news online at afn.net and download the AFN mobile app. I'm Rusty Key. Prior to birth, children need our help. Read A Pastor's Notes. God Calls the Church to Stand Boldly for Life by Pastor Joseph Parker.
We are called this day to stand for the innocent and speak out on their behalf.
This collection of essays by Pastor Joseph challenges us to take a public stand to protect the lives of the unborn. A Pastor's Notes is available now at resources.afa.net.
The body of Jesus Christ must speak up.
Welcome to Today's Issues, offering a Christian response to the issues of the day. Here's your host, Tim Wildman, President of the American Family Association.
Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Today's Issues on the American Family Radio Network. Pardon me. Thanks for listening to AFR. I'm Tim Wildman. Joining me in studio is Ed Patagliano. Good morning, Ed.
Good morning, Tim.
And Fred Jackson.
Howdy, Tim.
We are in our studios in Tupelo, MS. And again, we thank you for joining us. A lot to talk about today. If folks want to join us on video live stream or on our Facebook page, what they need to do, Ed?
Well, they can go to Facebook Live and search for Today's Issues and click through. You'll be able to watch the live video stream of this program.
And that's where we post the articles that we talk about.
We do. A lot of those articles, if there's a video or something that we make mention of, you can access it on our Facebook page. Or you can go to our streaming platform, streaming.afa.net. Streaming.afa.net. And I just do want to mention, I mentioned this yesterday, we do have something very special going on at our streaming platform. Again, streaming.afa.net. You can watch for free there for a limited time 2 very powerful videos. The first is called Practical Ways to Minister to the Sexually Broken. That's with Stephen Black and Laura Lee Stanlake. This is quote-unquote Pride Month. So we want to provide resources for Christians to get a better grasp of what is happening. The second video is the theological error of gay Christianity. Again, air quotes. The theology of gay Christianity is creeping into churches. So you can watch both of those videos for free for a limited time on streaming.afa.net.
All right. And if you want to send us an email, you can do so as long as it's positive and encouraging.
That's
Comments at afr.net. Comments at afr.net. We will...
K-Love emails, you call them.
Yes, because K-Love says that they are positive and encouraging radio.
Right.
I borrowed that from them to say we want positive and encouraging emails, thus K-Love emails.
Absolutely.
All right. No, you know, say whatever you want. We do take constructive criticism. We just don't take it well.
That's right. Yeah, we may send you something in the... No, I'm not joking about that.
There's the Italian.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I went right for revenge. I don't know what it's...
You start criticizing us too much. We got the bruiser Italian here in the studio, and he can do a Google search.
That's right. Be a shame if something happened to that dog of yours.
Oh, man. Oh, that's bad.
Yes, it is. Oh, you know, I'm just kidding.
You know what, Fred? What in the world is Canada sending down a bunch of smoke?
Wow, smoke signals.
You've seen that? This is a serious news story. What's happening?
Well, what's happening is there are wildfires in the Halifax area of Nova Scotia. That's the capital city, Nova Scotia.
Where you hail from.
Where I come from. And in Quebec. And what's happening there is a weather system that is moving counterclockwise. So this system is taking that smoke, whipping it around, and sending it down to New York, and I think as far as Philadelphia, and in other cities in New England. We've just been watching a live shot from New York City, and you would think the city's on fire somewhere. It is just unbelievable.
It's thick. Very thick.
Oh, it's
worst air quality in the world right now. New York City, in that area.
Yes.
Looking at the map, this is sort of swirling. This smoke. This forest fires, you say, in Nova Scotia?
Yes, forest fires.
And so it looks like to me it's blowing, down to New York, state of.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going as far as Massachusetts, if that's hitting there, but yeah, that's if you've ever been, most all of us have been around smoke from fires.
Yes.
And it doesn't take much to make your eyes water, to make breathing very uncomfortable. You don't even want to go outside. And I don't know how does it.
They're warning people if you do have some health problems, naturally breathing,
right,
stay inside,
like asthma,
that sort of thing. But even they were reporting this morning that people are getting inside. They go into restaurants, and the smoke is getting into the system there, air conditioning system, all of that.
Well, if smoke is that much and that thick, and it's ever present, it would get into the air conditioning ducts.
Yeah.
And what, just walking in the restaurant and opening up the door.
Right. It's bad.
So,
it's bad. I think there's been some curtailment of transportation. It can get so thick that it could affect air traffic into New York. Because
New Yorkers have a reputation of being good-natured. And what are y'all laughing?
I just thought it was funny.
They're good sports about things like that, and so I'm sure they're handling it well.
Yeah. No choice words for Canada.
I don't know who they blame. They blame nature, or they get mad at God, or what?
Or the gas stoves. Let's get rid of the gas stoves. New York City.
That's right. Yeah, if you're a Canadian and you have a flag on your luggage or your jacket.
Oh, I see. The New Yorkers are going to blame the Canadians.
Do not go. Oh, yeah.
What are you doing sitting in your smoke down here? Right? Keep your smoke up there.
Oh, that's the headline. Smoke from Canada.
It is what it says. Like Canadians have anything to do for...
Like they have big fans pushing it.
Can control forest fires and where they go. Well, speaking of, there have been times, when volcanoes erupt around the world. And I remember, was it a volcano in Iceland? Remember about 15, 20 years ago that it was a volcano? I want to say it was Greenland or Iceland. I want to say Iceland. And it affected, the ash from that was going all over Europe.
I think that was Iceland.
And this is one volcano. And it disrupted air travel for, I don't know, a couple of weeks, it seems like.
Well, you also had the Mount St. Helen.
That went all across the U.S.
All across the U.S. And I remember there was a KLM flight, 747, and it flew through this stuff, and then the engines ingested this ash, had to make an emergency landing. So this is serious stuff.
You're talking about the eruption in 2010. I'm looking it up. Now, I can't pronounce that name.
Was it in Iceland?
It was Iceland.
Okay.
It was in Iceland, and it caused enormous disruption to air travel across Western Europe.
Yeah, I remember that. Flights were having to be canceled, or
that ash is that's a serious.
That's more than smoke.
Yes, it's fine pieces of ash, and my understanding is that's unless you get caught in the blast, either the lava or the rush of heated air that would just melt you. The ash is what causes people to suffocate as you ingest that. And
if you're too close to it, or in the case of, did you say it was Mount St. Helens?
Yes.
Okay, that was the 90s, wasn't it?
Oh,
that happened.
It's way back. Yeah.
Look up that Ed. Ed is our crack researcher here. He uses something called
1980.
Google.
Wow.
What is that you're using? Google?
Goggle? Yeah.
You're a Goggle. When was that? 80? Oh, that was 80?
80.
Yeah.
So it was I was thinking 90s. It was the 80s. Wow. Okay. That was Mount St. Helens, and
that's 43 years ago.
Yeah, that went all across.
That reminds me.
I think we even got some here where we live.
I have an anniversary.
Some of the ash. What? Coming up?
Yeah.
That reminded you?
That's just the way my
better
mind.
hope Diane is listening right now.
So I said 1980. I said that was 1 year before I got married, and then I said then my mind went married. Anniversary is the 13th of this month, so 6 days.
You got married in 80?
1981. So
81.
That's why my mind said 1980 is 1 year before I got married. Oh, I got an anniversary coming up. Sorry guys, I'm gonna have to leave the show. I gotta go.
You gotta go buy
something.
Go get you a card or something.
Hey Diane, they have great deals on flights to New York.
Oh man.
Oh shucks, honey, we can't go. All right, Frederick.
All right, former Vice President Mike Pence has made it official. He has announced that he is ready to take on his former boss. Rather historic. They're saying it's the first time that a vice president in modern history has taken on his former running mate. And we got a little bit of his announcement here. We'll have a listen to this and we come back and discuss it. Cut number 6.
I'll always be proud of the progress we made together for a stronger, more prosperous America. But today, our country's in a lot of trouble. President Joe Biden and the radical left have weakened America at home and abroad. The American dream is being crushed under runaway inflation. Wages are dropping. Recession is looming. Our southern border is under siege, and the enemies of freedom are on the march around the world. And worse still, timeless American values are under assault as never before. We're better than this. We can turn this country around, but different times call for different leadership. Today, our party and our country need a leader that will appeal, as Lincoln said, to the better angels of our nature. That's why today, before God and my family, I'm announcing I'm running for President of the United States.
I think the portion that a lot of people are going to key in on is...
music. That was very ominous.
Yes, it was. but also the statement that calls for new leadership.
Yeah.
Creates our better angels.
Appeals to our better angels.
Yes. What could he be referring to with that?
You mean fill in those parentheses for you, Fred?
That's right.
You know, the fact of the matter is, Mike Pence, he has quite a resume. I mean, he was in Congress. I forgot about this. He was in Congress for 12 years.
Yep.
He was governor of Indiana.
He was also in leadership in the Congress.
Yes.
On the Republican side, obviously.
And was vice president under Donald Trump. So he has a pretty impressive
governor of Indiana.
Yes.
Yep.
So that's the thing. You have Donald Trump and Mike DeSantis, basically those
Mike
two.
DeSantis.
I mean, I'm sorry.
It's sanctimonious, man.
Ron DeSantis. I'm sorry.
Sanctimonious.
I'm just a spicy meatball. What can I say? Okay? So those two are really sucking all the air out of the room right now,
right,
in terms of the discussions. But
Pence is knocking at that door. He's wanting in.
He's not. I don't know that he has a shot at it. But you never know in politics. But I'm just saying, if all things being equal, he's got an impressive resume.
Oh yeah, and that's for sure. Yes, with Pence, he was Donald Trump's loyal vice president for 4 years, and we all know what happened at the end.
Yeah,
you know, Trump said Pence ought to not certify. What do you call it? Is that what you call it?
Certify the election.
Certify the election. He ought to send it back to the states.
Yes.
In certain states that it was
certain states.
Yeah.
And that's when Pence said, and constitutionally, I think even Jay Sekulow, Trump's attorney at the time, said Pence can't do that. It's a ceremonial role. He does not have the legal authority to do what Trump is asking him to do. That's where I came down. Is that where you guys come down on that one?
Well, again, I defer to people like Jay Sekulow, who I have an enormous amount of respect for from a Christian and conservative perspective and worldview. And I thought, it seemed to me that you should never have one person given the power to basically stop an entire election.
I mean, you see what I'm saying? You have to rely on the
That's
states
what, but I know,
to
but
certify
that's what,
their electors.
that's what former President Trump. This is what I'm getting at. Why is Mike Pence running? Because he and Trump are split up.
Yep.
Why are they split up? They were a great team for 3 years and 57 days or whatever, and then Trump said, "You're weak, Mike." W-E-A-K. You're weak. You got to stop this.
Right.
That is the election for being certified. And Pence said, I remember he said, with all due respect, I don't have that authority.
Right.
To do that, and I can't do that. And that's when Trump said, I'm done with you.
Right.
Basically. So I don't know how former President Trump will react to this publicly. I don't know how he'll react to it publicly if he will, because Pence is absolutely no threat to Trump right now, and wouldn't be unless for some reason President Trump is not in the running.
Right.
For some reason, I say. For some reason, could be a multitude. Somebody he gets sick.
And you're saying if Trump is out, that throws the race.
As I said yesterday. And folks, when we make these opinions and analysis and viewpoints, that's all they are. Okay? So Ed and Fred and Tim may even disagree on this. I'm just telling you from my perspective, the reason these people are in the race when I don't think you can look at it now and say they even have any kind of chance at all against Trump, with the exception of DeSantis. And I'll tell you why I think he's running. But and it may be part of why these other lady, Nikki Haley, and gentlemen are running. I don't know, are we up to 47 people now? I think we're like, I don't know what the debate stage is going to look like. But I think they're thinking either, okay, I may want to serve in the cabinet of the future president, Trump or somebody else, or more likely, I don't think Pence would be in a Trump cabinet if Trump were the guy who were elected. But they think that there's a chance that Trump won't be there when the primaries start in 8 months.
Yep.
Because of legal problems. That might be a big reason. And again, I said yesterday, Trump's 77. Now, there's no sign of him being in poor health at all, talking about Trump. He's still knocking down the Big Macs without missing a beat. I say Big Mac, his favorite restaurant is McDonald's, right?
I think, I don't know if it actually is, but that's the impression.
You know what I found funny about that is, here you have a guy who's a multi-billionaire, right?
Yeah.
He's a multi-billionaire, talking about Trump, and he could have whatever he wanted to.
He could have lobster every meal.
And he wants a Big Mac. I just think that's funny.
Well, I'm just going to tell you, I agree with the former president that a Big Mac and McDonald's fries, that's good.
That'll make you happy. There's a reason to call it a Happy Meal, huh?
That'll make your day.
Now, for DeSantis, I think, and maybe some of the others, maybe this is part of their consideration. Talking about the governor of Florida. You say, well, why is he running? He has no chance either against Trump. I think he would say, if you were to, I don't know if you said this publicly, but there are a lot of people who don't believe that former President Trump can win a general election, even against Biden. Now, don't throw things at the radio and say, Tim, you're wrong. I'm not saying that necessarily. I'm saying that is the viewpoint of half the Republican Party. And a lot of observers is that Trump is so underwater with independents and with women that he can't win a general election. Now, maybe that will be proven to be absolutely false. But I'm just saying that's what a lot of people think. And that would explain in part why DeSantis has decided to run against Trump, even though Trump is the favorite. DeSantis is number 2 now. Whether he can rise up or not, talking about DeSantis, that remains to be seen. We'll know more in the next few months whether he's able to offer a legitimate challenge to the president, to the former president, who is way ahead in most of the polls. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, and that's you kind of like when you talk about a football game or something. You say, well, that's why they play the game. You know, nobody is guaranteed. We don't have official coronations. You have to go through the ringer, and if you can make it through the ringer, I'll toss it to you, Fred. You get the prize. So
we're in uncharted waters, and I stand to be corrected. But what an election cycle! The Democrat Joe Biden has announced he's running again. He's going to be, how old should he be elected in 24? 81?
88? I think closer to 82, I think.
82. I don't think we've been there before. The person leading the pack right now, poll-wise, on the Republican side is Donald Trump.
77 this month.
77 this month. But the legal problems he's facing. He is facing possible obstruction of justice charges with regards to Mar-a-Lago. There are some people who think, okay, he won't be charged. But there are others who say, no, the way the Justice Department, the Attorney General has gone at this, I wasn't aware of this until yesterday. I was reminded. The Biden Justice Department has set up a grand jury in Florida.
Now, that's a special counsel.
A special counsel, but there's a grand jury looking into things.
Yes. Excuse me for interrupting, and I don't do that often. Merrick Garland, the Attorney General, appointed a special counsel,
right?
Quote, independent, and he's the one in charge of convening a grand jury.
Yes.
Not Merrick Garland, even though people would say, well, Merrick Garland is telling him what to do. I understand that, but the technical...
But there's also, if I understand this correctly, a grand jury set up in Washington, D.C.
Right.
And the speculation is, I'll put it this way, the speculation is, if the Democrats have set up the one in Washington, D.C. because they believe they can get a favorable jury against Trump.
There is a grand jury in Florida.
Yeah.
About this.
Looking into the Mar-a-Lago.
Yes. So I think there are going to be charges. The former Attorney General Bill Barr believes there will be charges against Trump.
For obstruction of justice, right?
Obstruction of justice. And as a backup to the grand jury in Florida, there's going to be one in Washington, D.C. And
Washington, over January 6th?
This is over either January 6th or Mar-a-Lago.
There are two issues with Jack Smith, the special counsel.
Yes.
One is the documents in Mar-a-Lago, which were classified, and then the second one is President Trump's role in January 6th, right?
Yes. So the feeling is he's going to face charges in one or both of those investigations. The feeling also is that regardless of the charges, that Trump would continue to run, and the Democrats want Donald Trump at the top of the ticket.
Because of the perceived legal troubles.
Yes.
You're saying that most of the Democrats believe they would rather face Trump than another Republican candidate.
Yes, he has a bigger target on his back.
Right.
I don't think we've been here before in a presidential campaign. Am I right in that?
Well, I can't remember.
With this chemistry.
No, I can't remember that. And listen, Biden has a little bit of a challenge with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. too.
Yes.
Now he's not polling, I don't think, much above 17, 18%. But you may see that grow if Biden continues to show himself, in my opinion, incapable of handling a second term.
I don't know what's going to happen. I just can't believe Biden will be the guy.
It's hard to imagine that.
It's hard to imagine.